We're staying. I'm going to call this City Council meeting to order. At this time, we have a moment of silence. Thank you. I would ask Councilman Minke if he would lead us into the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You can be seated. I want to welcome each of you all here to the Georgetown City Council meeting for Monday, June the 9th, 2025. Council, I want to remind you that if you would, turn on your mics so when you're speaking, it can be heard for all. At this time, we're going to have the roll call. Madam Clerk.
Here.
Mr. Chris?
Here.
Mrs. Hamburg? Mr. Hampton? Mr. Minke?
Present.
Mrs. Weston Mitchell?
Here.
Mrs. Stinglesang?
Here.
Mr. Stone?
Here.
Thank you very much. At this time, I will entertain a motion for the minutes that were presented at the last meeting.
I'll make a motion here.
Motion made by Ms. Brent. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Ms. Sames. Do I have any further questions and or comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Item 4, receipt of the check registry. If you have received that, please show your hands. Let the record reflect that all present received it. Item number 5 is public comments. A reminder on public comments, you will have 4 minutes which to come before the council. Please state your name so it can be for the record. And Madam Clerk will time you at 3 minutes. She will tell you at that time, and then you will have 1 minute to finish up. Are there anyone, the list, public comments? Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Yes, sir. It's behind you. Oh, sorry. Just have one, sir.
All righty. Thank you so much. Okay, Mr. Steve Price, you may come on up. Please state your name, and you have 4 minutes.
Okay, Mayor Jenkins, if I may explain, please don't start my 4 minutes because I need to explain why I did not address the meeting that just adjourned. I read on your website that you convened, that the town government was going to hold a meeting at 5:30 regarding distribution of traffic funds as a meeting required under KRS 174.100. I arrived here at 5:25. That clock said 5:25. I said, meeting's already going on. So I said, well, this must be a previous meeting. And so I sit down and wait for that meeting to be over and don't say anything. And so now I want to say what I want to say. I guess I'll have to use the 4 minutes. I should get 8 minutes is what I'm saying because I didn't, the clock was wrong.
Okay, Mr. Price.
Does that make sense?
I'm going to give you your 4 minutes, okay? You have 4 minutes.
All right, well, I have to say in this 4 minutes what I would have said to the meeting regarding use of traffic funds as required, the public comments required by KRS 174.100. And what I'm going to say is that every dollar you spend for roads, every square foot that you pave says to our community, especially our young people, driving is the way. Driving is the future. And I challenge that. I haven't driven since 1999. It's one of the best moves I ever made in my life. Because when I stopped driving, I realized I've got time and I've got hands. I can do something with my hands besides turn the steering wheel. I can raise crops. I can make baskets. I can make shoes. I can make hats. There's all kinds of things I can do with my hands besides, but if I'm spending all my time making an automobile run or a truck run, then I don't have time to do anything except make the truck run. And every time you allocate $1 for a road, you're saying to the world and to our town, driving is where it's at. And I disagree. And that's what I'm here to say. And we are in a unique opportunity to say to the whole world, we don't want any more motor vehicles. We can say it to Toyota, we can say it to Ford, we can say it to General Motors, we can say it to Stellantis, who now runs Chrysler. We can say it to all these automotive and motorcycle manufacturers, truck manufacturers. We don't need you, we don't want you. Regarding Bridge Street, I was on Bridge Street, what's the time?
You have 1 more minute.
I was on Bridge Street about 3 months ago. I phoned Councilman Menke, I phoned Councilman Crisp. I said, there's a sign here that says the road's closed, the bridge is closed. The bridge is closed to motor vehicles, but it's not closed to pedestrians. And did y'all put a sign up that says the bridge is not closed to pedestrians? That's what I suggested when I made my phone call to you two. Has that been done? I guess pedestrians don't count. Well, pedestrians are doing you a favor, buddy, because we don't pollute the air. We don't make any noise. We're not a threat to anybody on the road.
Thank you, Mr. Price. Is there anyone else? All right. Mayor's comments. Okay, got a couple of items to go over. First of all, we have a special group of young ladies here with us. On June 1st in Elizabethtown, the Georgetown Football Club girls, and I got kind of confused, it says 2013, but actually that's the year they were born, and that's how they were ranked. And I'm going, it's got to be a problem with that, but no. So I'm glad they cleared that up for me, because I tell you what, I was real confused. I said with that, but they earned a hard-fought 3-2 victory over Lexington Soccer Club to win the Kentucky Challenge Cup, a competition that gives 11 under and 12 and under players the exciting opportunity to play for a state championship. This dedicated group of 15 players, many who have played together for 4 or more years under the leadership of Coach James Dahmer, has steadily climbed the ranks to compete in the Kentucky Premier League, the top-tier youth soccer league in the state. To claim the championship, they defeated 4 strong Kentucky teams, including opponents from higher division within the Kentucky Premier League. Throughout their journey, they have proudly represented Georgetown with grit, teamwork, and sportsmanship. So, on behalf of the city of Georgetown, I want to congratulate the Georgetown Football Club girls 2013 Black on team for the state championship. Girls, excellent. I tried to referee that soccer, the football, and I always had a little trouble doing that. Coach, if you're here, all right, I have some medallions to give you from the city of Georgetown. These are the city pins. If you will make sure all of them get one from that. Oh, wow.
Nice.
Right there. I now belong to the Georgetown Football Club, so thank you so much. Thank you. So at this time, if you all will come up, we'll take a photo op. Ladies, come on up. We want to get a mugshot, a picture of you, so we can put this out there. All right. Come on, Miss Tammy.
I'm standing up. I'm not going in front of this young lady.
Devin, can I move this? Can I move this?
I don't want to be in front of these beautiful young ladies.
We're get in front. Go ahead and get up in front.
They're gonna move them up.
Kim, I guess we're.
All right.
I haven't gotten all of it yet. Todd, can you move in just a little bit? Okay. Thank you.
Y'all can be judged now because I have one and y'all don't, so there you go. All right.
Great way to start the meeting.
Yeah.
All right. I'll wait till them to clear out, and then I'll start back at it. Again, I want to mention to you that the Georgetown Sister City invitation to go to Japan, I'm going to be sending you some information. It will give you a tentative deadline of dates where we're going to actually be traveling. It will also give you information as to the cost, and also will give you, a timeline which you are to make deposit. Again, this is open to all of you. We're not going to use public funds to take the international trip, so everybody's on their own dime. Okay, so I think Mayor Sampson did it before, and I know Mr. Minky has gone a few times, and so the opportunity to go will be open to you all. So we'll make sure I extend that to you. Another important thing to remind you of that on June the 30th at 4 o'clock. At the fire training station, we're going to have the ribbon cutting ceremonies. It will be at 4 o'clock. So again, want to remind you to be there. This is from the years of hard work they have put together and putting that training center together. And on Wednesday, June the 18th at 1 o'clock, we're going to have the dedication service for the monument at Old Georgetown Cemetery. To kind of give you a little background, this project kind of started 8 years ago, but 2 years ago, they wanted to put up a sign to recognize that graveyard. So Mr. Terry Thomas and Mr. Ron Brown, who diligently, worked hard to put this together, and also donated the monument that you're going to see at that event. It's going to be, again, June the 18th at 1 o'clock, and it will be at the Old Georgetown Cemetery on North Hamilton. So you're welcome to attend that. All right. Next, item 7, council committee reports, and we have police.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
The Police Committee met on June the 2nd, and all the members were present, along with a very special guest. It was Bring Your New Puppy to Work Day. You can talk to Councilman Karen about that.
I have pictures.
Basically, the chief reported on the staffing progress that we've been making. the group that we have going through the hiring process right now, we have 1 certified and 5 non-certified that are going through that process right now. Unfortunately, as business recognizes, we are going to have 4 retirements in August, and so we'll be in that process again. And so the chief's making plans for that right now as well. Basically, we'll have another round of hiring to be able to get back to where we need to be and then where we want to be for that. We did have a conversation about kind of the recruiting activities that are going on as well, the ongoing things that the police department is doing. They're continuing to utilize their recruiting PD cruiser, especially during the graduation season, both for the high schools as well as Georgetown College. We did have a discussion about the Part 1 crime statistics. Those are the high crime areas, and we're making really good progress in most of those categories. But we had that conversation around how we're connecting what we're doing, what technologies are being used, and those kinds of things to be able to make those positive gains that we're making here to keep the community safe. Part of that, the updates that if you go to their Facebook page, you'll see a lot of those updates of the things that are going on and where we are with those statistics. I would encourage you to look there. One example that I'll just use for the conversation is the flock cameras. These are the cameras that are on the perimeters of the community that do the license plates reading. It's a national system that is a great technology use for being able to detect crime and suspects and those kinds of things. And if you check on the Facebook page, you'll see a lot of great effort that's there. Since there's such great progress going on there, they are looking at increasing the number of flock cameras that we have to be able to use that technology tool, coordinating with the sheriff's department so that we have good coverage throughout the entire community. So stay tuned for that. The other interesting information, so physical fitness is very, very important for a police officer, and the Georgetown Police Department now has been certified where they can do their own physical fitness training. And so through a partnership with the Scott County Schools and Scott County High School, being able to do that here in the community. So again, it just provides more opportunity to keep our folks here doing that kind of testing and being able to stay fit. So that's a great step there. The last thing that I'll just highlight, one of the things that has been an ongoing problem is parking, illegal parking along the hotels and things like that for semis that have been parking on the city streets. There's a prohibition on doing that overnight. And so the police department did take some very proactive steps, having conversations with the hotels, along with the carriers that are doing that type of activity. And so we're now in the process of actually ticketing and towing if you continue to do that. So just wanted to let you know that those are the kinds of things that are really going on to keep our community safe. So that's my report, Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Minke, for that report. Item 8, resolution KPDI beneficiary for the Lane Runs Business Park, Phase Number 3. And Devin, you're going to tell us more about that.
Yes, sir. So we kind of prepped for this at the last meeting, gave you a little primer of what's being asked. Like I said, the fiscal court will, at their next meeting, adopt a resolution to serve as the grantee, so the funding will flow to them, then to the city. It's kind of an odd mechanism, but the funding is required to go to a grantee and then a beneficiary. So this is just requesting that you approve that and reaffirm the $100,000 matching funds. Like I mentioned at the last meeting, $100,000 is also being allocated by Scott County Fiscal Court, and I believe right around $47,000 by Scott United to get that additional just shy of $1 million for the Phase 3 project.
All right.
Motion, Mayor.
Okay. All right. Motion made by Mr. Stone, second made by Mr. Minky. Are there further questions or anything? Any more? Madam Clerk? Oh. Oh, sorry, excuse me.
We jumped way ahead on that.
I'm jumping right ahead. Didn't I?
We just want to get the money. Get started.
All you need is an all in favor.
All right, I'm sorry, I got going here. So we had a motion made, properly second. Are there any other questions? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye. Aye. Those opposed say nay. All right. Let the record reflect that the motion is passed, so we're good. All right, next on item number 10, Georgetown Municipal Water and, oh, wait a minute, let me go back to 9. The first reading of the amendment to the personnel ordinance. Sponsors are Kim Minky and Michael Crisp. All right,
Let me go ahead. Okay.
absolutely.
An ordinance amending Section 2-60 of the Code of Ordinances regarding personnel. Summary. 1. Amends Exhibit B of Section 2-60 subsection C of the Code of Ordinances to increase the number of permit technician positions from 1 to 2 within the Georgetown-Scott County Building Inspection Department, increase the number of police captain positions from 1 to 2, and the number of police officer positions from 57 to 59, as well as to change the grade of the body-worn camera program coordinator from grade 104 to grade 108 within the Georgetown Police Department. Increase the number of firefighter EMT positions from 33 to 36, and the number of code enforcement officers positions from 1 to 2 within the Georgetown Fire Department, and create 1 coordinator position, and change the title of the assistant manager position to assistant coordinator within the Georgetown-Scott County 911 Center. 2. Provides for repeal of inconsistent ordinances, severability of provisions, and an effective date upon passage and publication. The full text of this ordinance is available for examination in the City Clerk's Office, 629 North Broadway, Georgetown, Kentucky, 40324, or at www.georgetownky.gov. Introduced and publicly read the first time, June 9th, 2025.
All right.
And these are all changes and additions that were asked for during the budget process. So should you adopt the budget at the next meeting, then we'll have the personnel ordinance second reading at the second time so that we can go ahead and make these changes and fill positions.
All right. Thank you very much, Ms. Miller. Appreciate that. Now I'll get myself back on track here. I'm on item number 10. Now, Mr. Chase, you can come up now and talk about the following. A, financial audit, year 25 through 27, recommendation of award.
So, as you said, Mayor, thank you. Recommendation award for our annual financial audit services. So we worked with the City of Georgetown on this procurement. Stacy Clark is kind enough to include our audit, our part of the financial audit with the cities. Hopefully we get more work, a larger scope of work. Hopefully we get a better price. So the proposed contract or task order, it'll be for a 3-year term. And we had 2 proposals that we received, one from RFH and to the RFP. We received a submittal from RFH Consultants and one from a firm called CRI. In your memo, we show, at least for our portion, that's all that's shown in your council memo, what we've been paying for these services over the past 3 years, and then the proposed rates over the next 3 years. As you see, both firms, they have plenty of experience for this type of work. When we assisted in scoring those submittals, RFH still submitted a pretty significantly lower price for these services. So scope for this work, it's our annual audit of financial statements that we conduct every year and report back on. And so we're recommending for your consideration, we're recommending that we award at least our portion to RFH.
All right, you hear the request. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Mr. Minky, second made by Ms. Mitchell. Are there further questions and or comments? All those in favor of the motion signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Let the record reflect it passed. Item B, year 26 annual operating and capital budget.
So I'm very pleased that we're ready to present our budget for the coming fiscal year tonight. And you all know Jeff, he's with me, he's our finance director, he's been with you all before, and he'll be presenting part of this information as well as helping me answer questions. So as always, questions as we go is the best way for us to do this. Don't hold off till the end, but this budget, I believe it shows our progress on a number of things. Continued work on our wastewater treatment plant number 1 upgrade and expansion. It shows our further commitment to our ongoing capital improvements program. We're going to touch on those projects and those efforts, and our ongoing commitment to our day-to-day operations, our service to our customers, and doing all that in an environment where regulatory guidelines that we live by, they're changing constantly. So the budget is important. That will allow us to maintain compliance, meet and exceed compliance with any of those regulatory rules, especially new ones that come up, and we'll do our best, but we feel like this budget is a way to continue these services and improve upon them. We'll jump right in. So we can see we've got our agenda. I always like to kind of tell you how we're going to go through. We'll first start with a very quick review of our FY23 or calendar 23 rate ordinance that was implemented back in February of 2023, and then how that turns into and how we translate that into our FY26 budget with our projections and assumptions. That's where I think we'll do a lot of our discussion, and a lot to talk about there just on how we develop the budget. I'll give you a quick overview of our timeline. City departments have been doing a really good job, very much in depth of what all they do and how their budgets are put together. Jeff's going to run you through revenues and expenses and some of the highlights, and then I'll finish up with our ongoing capital improvements program and funding that we've secured in order to better that program. So, any questions before we jump in? Okay. So as I said, this is built off of our 2023 water and sanitary sewer rate ordinance, and that was approved in February of 2023. So we're not asking for an approval or consideration of any rates. This is already what's approved in that 6-year rate ordinance. This is just the budget on which that we're basing our budget on that ordinance. So just a quick review here. Our current, in FY25, our current rate structure as of March 1st of this year is our rate for water for the first 2,000 gallons used in a billing cycle. Our rate is $21.61. That's for water, 2,000 gallons. And then our variable rate for every 1,000 gallons after that is $11.66. Our current sewer rate is for the first 2,000 gallons of a billing cycle. That's $19.89. And $12.62 for each additional 1,000 gallons being our variable rate. In accordance with the rate ordinance, as of March 1st, 2026, we will adjust and increase those rates within that structure. For the first 2,000 gallons of water is $22.90, and the variable rate for the water for the additional 1,000 gallons is $12.36. Likewise, in sewer, we'll increase to $21.09 for the first 2,000 gallons and $13.38 for the variable sewer rate. So this is the basis for our budget, and stop. Any questions there? Okay. Next slide, please. So we'll switch, and Councilmember Hambrick not here tonight, but she did bring this up last council meeting. She asked for, so you saw this at the previous council meeting, but she asked me about how our rates compare with our peer utilities, and while the Bluegrass ad rate comparisons and some of the statewide rate comparisons are not done at this point in the year just yet, we've done some of at least looking at what we feel like as our peers, and I believe this is pretty close to the Bluegrass Area Development District. This shows where we are on that orange bar, and this is for 2,000 gallons of combined water and sewer service. And it shows you we're kind of right there in the middle of the pack. And as I stated the last meeting, I'm very proud of where we sit. We've taken on a major wastewater treatment plant upgrade and expansion. No, it has not gone smoothly. We had to make some mid-course corrections, but even with that, with a major South Sewer Extension project that we're going to talk about a little bit later, but just about to wrap up, and as I said, ever-changing regulatory not restrictions, but rules and changes that we have to live by. I'm very proud of where we sit. So any questions here? Okay. So we go, this is just kind of our budget schedule and development. We begin similar to the city in January of each year, each calendar year, with departmental requests, and we work department by department on what do we see, what are our needs going to be in the coming year. So by February, March, April, we are compiling all that information, and we presented this draft budget to our Board of Commissioners twice in May, with getting approval on May 20th at our second board meeting, and that was a unanimous approval, and so we're ready to bring this to you tonight for your consideration. Go to our next slide, please. So this is where we get into budgets, our budget projections and assumptions. And based on the recommendation of our rate consultant, New Gen Strategies and Solutions, we do not project our revenue beyond what is our actual revenue over the past 12 months. We don't try to project increases into that revenue. So the budget is based on revenues collected over our previous 12 months. They outlined this in their recommendations that we talked about at your previous meeting, and that was in that memo that you received. So that's kind of how we start out, is previous 12 months revenue. And our first part of this is water and sewer connections. As you can see, we budgeted 150 new connections on both water and sewer, and this is a very, very, very conservative approach that is enforced for me and Jeff by our Board of Commissioners. So a few years back, I think it was around 2020, we overestimated our connections, and then we had on that portion of our budget, it was out of whack most of the year, and they don't want to see that again, so we take a pretty conservative approach. And then even as we try to come up with this number each year, we look at our availability requests, we look at all the projects that we think are going to hit in this coming fiscal year, and we try to estimate that, but a lot can change. You've got new projects that'll come up that we didn't know about in the budget process that want connections. You've also got projects that get delayed or go away, and then so that's a moving target. It's hard to hit, so we take that conservative approach. And if we overshoot, which you can look at our current pace as well above that, there's no adverse impact there. Yeah. But if we overestimate that, then we see that in our budget. So that's the direction that Jeff and I have been given to take on connections. Any questions there?
So Chase, seeing the significant difference in the budget versus 2025 pace on connections, what's the last couple years been like on terms of connections? Have they exceeded the 150 number or
Yes.
100 number?
And we actually increased that last year. What was the year before? We were down to 100 budgeted, and that was kind of around 2023, I believe, then 24, 25, I think we've increased back to 150. So 300 total. And then in 2023, we also raised the value of the connection fee as part of the rate ordinance. So I do think at some point we do need to take a closer look at bumping those numbers up. I think when we get beneficial use of Plant 1, right, I think that's the right time that I can go to the board and say, let's bump these numbers up a little bit.
Yeah. I would think, given the significant pent-up demand that's out there, at least for the next year or two or three, it may be prudent to do that. I guess the other question, I'm sorry, back on the consumption side. So based on, you were showing a 6% kind of increase in consumption. The last couple of years, are you seeing that same percentage, or is that conservative as well?
I'll call Jeff up here on that one. He tracks those a little closer.
Actually, sir, that 6% increase is the rate increase.
Right.
from 25 to 26, it doesn't really reflect a consumption increase. When New Gen comes in and does our rate model refresh, we have a new, it was based on FY 22's consumption, and they don't increase consumption in their assumptions on the rate model. We had that in a previous rate model iteration, and we were chasing a number that we just could not get to. So we no longer put any escalators in consumption, but now we have a new benchmark from FY 24 that we're using. So you'll see some increases here in a moment on revenue, but that 6% refers to where we are in the rate model price increase, if you would.
Let me go back and touch on one other thing that you mentioned as far as related to availability requests and that what's pent up or our backlog. I'll point out that really within our wait list, our queue, there's not a lot left. I think there's 6 or 7 projects left for Plant 1, and we essentially we don't have any waiting at wastewater Plant 2. So I think with a lot of the projects that you all are aware of, when those come online, yes, we're going to see an increase. I don't know if those schedules change. They might not hit, and we might not see those till FY 27.
Yeah.
But I do think with combination of some of these big projects coming online and the plant expansion getting to beneficial use, that'll be the appropriate time to adjust those numbers, and we can look at consumption as well.
Yeah. So are you seeing a steady increase in water consumption?
Both.
Okay.
Both water and wastewater.
Yeah.
Chase, that one's being too specific. We've seen, since FY 22, we've seen about a 6% increase in water consumption, 5.7 to be exact, and about an 11% increase in sewer consumption. We were up in 23, ticked back slightly in 24, up again in what we're projecting for 25. We have 11 months of data, so we're projecting 25 to be higher still.
So is the difference there the Kentucky American?
Sometimes water consumption pings up and down a little bit.
Okay.
Sorry. Can look closer into it, but I can't really give you any trends right at this second.
Thank you.
Let's see here, what we got through. So down to wages. So our budget for FY 26, we have included a 2.9% cost of living adjustment for all staff, and we're also including a potential merit-based adjustment up to 1%. So maximum an employee can receive is 3.9%, but that's broken down as 2.9% COLA and 1% merit. As given to us through the retirement system, we are budgeting for a 5.85% decrease on the retirement system contributions through CERS, and we were very happy with our health insurance renewal for our group insurance. As you can see, we offer 2 plans to our employees, one being a high deductible plan, one being a PPO, and the high deductible plan does not see an increase this year. Don't know what we did, but we'll take it. PPO only saw a 4% increase, and you can look at our FY 25 numbers. So we'll take those renewals any day of the week, and we'll be very happy. We saw a 3% increase for both dental and vision. So any questions here on connections, on wages, retirement, group insurance, any of these assumptions or factors into the budget? Let's see here, we can go to our next slide. And I'm going to turn this over to Jeff. He's going to run you through revenue and expenses, and then I'll rejoin you shortly.
Mayor, council, good evening. We'll start with budget components of revenue. For FY 26, our Fund 1 revenue, we're budgeting $22,730,279. That's an increase of $3,840,149, or 20.33% from our FY 2025 budget. Our Fund 2 revenue is projected to be $2,629,712. That's an increase of $135,393, or 5.43% from FY 2025. And that brings our total revenue to $25,359,991, an increase of $3,975,542, or 18.59% from FY 2025. And while these numbers do appear to be large, that's an increase from budget to budget. It's not reflective of where we currently find ourselves 11 months through the year. That's not as big of a bridge as what you're seeing here, and with an almost $4 million increase, so we don't think we'll have any trouble hitting these numbers. Keep in mind that our FY 25 revenue budget was based on that old FY 22 consumption. We didn't make any adjustments from new gen. These new estimates here for FY 26 are based on an updated FY 24 consumption. So they are a little bit higher, but they do dovetail nicely with our current revenue numbers. They just seem a little higher when you compare budget to budget. I'll move on to expenditures. Our Fund 1 expenditures are projected to be $17,744,420. That's an increase of $1,871,392, or just under 12% from our FY 2025 budget. And I'll take you through a few of the drivers of our expenditure increases. Our wage increase also leads to a FICA increase that totals about $155,000. We have an increase for maintenance and repair and equipment of $108,000. Our biggest driver for our cost increase is depreciation expense. We are budgeting for Plant 1, that improvement to be beneficially used by 9/30 of 25, so we've included 10 months of depreciation. That doesn't mean construction will all be done at the end of September, but beneficial use would mean that we're able to take waste. And the accounting rules say that we have to start depreciating that plant when it becomes beneficially able to accept waste. So we project that to be at the end of September. So we've included 10 months of depreciation, which on a $60 million investment is quite a bit. Professional services engineering, we're now able to run some in-house modeling. We have hydraulic models for our water and sewer, so we've included some funds in there to do some in-house modeling next year. Professional services sludge is up $65,000. That's been increasing every year. We have another contract renewal in November of 2025, and we expect it to go up as well. Utilities, electric, we normally, as a rule of thumb, we take our current year and add 10%. This year, we're also adding another $50,000 under Plant 1 for the SBR. We're just not sure yet how it's going to consume electricity, so we're trying to be a little conservative there and add some funds in there in case it consumes at a rate we're not expecting. And water purchases, Frankfurt and KWC is up $517,000. Again, we're being conservative here. We have some repairs we'd like to make to the water treatment plant in FY 2026. We think it's best to do those all at once when we can shut down the plant and get them all done at one time. Conservatively, we're estimating a month for that, but it may take much less time than that. And that's a month of us buying solely from Frankfurt Plant Board and from KWC. That's that $517,000 increase. Yeah, sure.
Just point out, as Jeff's explaining that expense that we're adding in this year for these maintenance operations, as he said, we will be purchasing 100% of our water, and so we want to factor in as much maintenance as we can during this time to benefit ourselves on this time that we're paying for. One of the things that we've managed to get done in the last year that's been very, very beneficial is we renegotiated, as council is aware, our purchase agreement with Frankfurt Plant Board to get on a wholesale rate. So while we are going to be buying more water, we're buying it at a cheaper rate, and this will help us with this planned shutdown of our water plant.
Moving over to Fund 2 expenditures, we project they will be $3,434,048 next year. That's an increase of $148,722, or about 4.5% up from FY 25's budget. So what we have here is we have Fund 1 and Fund 2 expenditures. They total $21,178,468. And then if you add interest expense, these are operational expenses. Interest expense is not an operational expense, so it's separate, not included in this slide. Interest expense is just over $3.1 million, so we have total expenses, and this is on a couple of the sheets in your packet as well, of $24,541,000. $289,856. I'll pause for a minute before we go to the next slide. Any questions so far? Okay. Next, we'll show you revenue and expenditures. We'll show you kind of a couple of pie charts to show you where we earn our money and where we spend our money. No surprise, on the revenue side, we earn our money. 93% of our revenue comes from water revenues, water rate revenue, and sewer rate revenue. That's the orange and the blue pieces of the pie there. Those other categories are small categories from left to right. They are connection fees in the gray, penalties in yellow, interest income in the lighter blue, and miscellaneous revenue in the green. Those are all 2% or less. So 93% of our revenue comes from our rate revenue. Moving on to expenditures. Our biggest slice of the pie here is the green slice on the left-hand side. That is depreciation expense. It's a little over $7 million. You see there are three rather big slices of pie on the right side. A blue slice, which is our debt service. That's that $3.1 million of interest I mentioned. Plus we'll have about $1.3 million of principal payments during the year. So that's about a little over $4.4 million. The orange and the gray slide or slice kind of go together. That's wages in orange and benefits in gray. It's all together. Those are almost the same amount as our depreciation expense. So those are our two largest expenditure categories: wages and benefits, and then depreciation. Any questions on either of those slides? Okay. We'll move on to capital expenses. Our Fund 1 FY26 budget for departmental capital projects. This is when Chase comes and asks for a new pump or some cured-in-place pipe replacement at certain locations downtown, things like that. Fire hydrant maintenance. These are things we do every year. We do it out of rate revenue. Those are $1,794,697. Our Fund 2 budget, which is reimbursed dollar for dollar by Toyota, is $2,650,000. And our vehicle replacement is $130,227. That consists of one fleet vehicle replacement for a little over $50,000. And we are in year 3 of a 5-year plan to save for a camera truck at $80,000 a year, trying to save $400,000. So that makes up the rest of that vehicle replacement budget. And then I'm going to turn it back over to Chase, and he's going to take you through some of our larger projects. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll say, if you can stay on this slide for just a second, the vehicle replacement, if there is one place that I think we're light, well, I'd like to have more people, but we'll work on that. But I wouldn't be surprised if I come and ask you all for out of additional vehicles this year. We will try to keep it at 1 and try to maintain our sinking fund for vehicle replacement that we're adding to each year with that commitment. But back when we redid our rates, one of the things that we had to really trim down was our fleet budget. And so don't be surprised if I come before you and say, this isn't budgeted, but we've got to have it. So I think we have just, is it 41 fleet vehicles, and I think the average age of our fleet, average of all those vehicles, is around 9 years. So I'll just say that's one place that I feel like we might have some catching up to do. So we can go to the next slide, please. Let's finish up here. We've got our capital improvements plan, and this is taken directly from the slides that I used in the meetings before council in November and December of 2022, and then in January and February of 2023. These are the projects, with a few exceptions that I'm going to go through, that were in that same presentation. This was the capital plan that our rate structure was based on. And you all know I say this is budgeted, this is in our rate model, and if it's not, I tell you I better have a good excuse as why it's not. So I'll start with a few things that aren't here, and first is the South Sewer Extension. That's one of our budgeted projects, but we are hoping to finish that up, I'll say any day, but it'll likely be this summer sometime. There's very little work remaining there. We've got to get Lau Road pavement restoration complete, and then we wrap that project up, a multi-year effort. We put a bow on it, and we call that one done. We also are Northwest Bypass Waterline Extension. That project's complete. So those were two that were on the list. So we get to the ones that are remaining. We'll continue with our wastewater plant 1 upgrade and expansion. And that is funded through rate revenue and some grant funding that we have received. So all these they're either partially or fully funded via rate revenue. These are the projects that I feel like we need to pay the most attention to because they come from rate revenue. So next is Deshay and Water Street Interceptor Sewer. That's our primary sewer that serves the entire southern half of the city, and we are in design. We think that that will go to construction bid this summer, and that is partially funded through rate revenue, partially funded through our ARPA. I think that was round 2 of our ARPA funding for water and sewer improvements. Next project is the Southside Tank and Distribution System upgrades. That's another project partially funded through rate revenue and then partially funded through a state allocation from the budget that was in the amount of $5 million. So the last one is one that was not on our 2022-2023 list. That's the Pump Station 20 replacement. If you recall, last fall, the council approved me adding that to the list because we had a developer that was needing capacity in that area. So we partnered on that project. Developers shouldering a significant portion of the financial burden of that project. They get their benefit, obviously, for their new project, but we get to rebuild a pump station that is operating beyond its service life. We also gives us the potential to eliminate a second pump station in the future. So I believe that's the only project that I've brought to you since beginning of 2023 that's we've added or changed in any major way. So proud of how we've stuck to that, and we've been very disciplined about that. I hope that's recognized, but that's really the only change to this capital program. Probably will be more changes as we get new regulatory rules, but we'll roll with those, and we'll figure out a way to fund those that has minimal impact on our customers. The only other note is we do have another list of projects that I'll bring to you that weren't from that 2023-2022 study and plan, but those are funded through grants that we have applied for and received. I can distribute that list of projects, but when I come and ask for your approval, your consideration of those, that'll be a good day because I can say this is fully funded by a grant that we've received. No impact to ratepayers. So.
Chase, a couple questions if I could.
Yes, sir.
The Deshay Water Street Interceptor program, for those on the council that didn't hear it, this is the oldest pipe that you all have, is that correct?
Close to it. If not the oldest, it's one of the oldest, and it's, it needs to be replaced. It has to be replaced. It runs down Water Street and through the back of the Deshay neighborhood all the way to the treatment plant. It's our primary feed to the south side of the wastewater plant.
Okay, and then Pump Station 20, where is that one at?
That is south side of the bypass at the intersection of 25 behind Speedway. Is it Stonecrest neighborhood? Is that correct? And it serves that area, and this is where we're partnering with Hogan Real Estate. They are getting the sewer capacity they need for their development of the Bringardner property. They're paying 1/3 of that cost. We're paying 2/3. That's based on service area and flow. And we get to rebuild Pump Station 20 and then possibly eliminate Pump Station number 9.
Just have a quick question, Chase.
Yes, ma'am.
I see that you're using ARPA funds. Is there a deadline by which you have to use those?
The one I'm most concerned about is on Deshay Water Street Interceptor. That has to be spent by December of 2026, so we know we are on the clock. Questions?
Any more questions?
Just a quick comment. Chase and Jeff, thank you for your budget preparation and process. It's very clear and easy to follow, so I really appreciate that. It makes a lot of sense.
I'd echo, I can't do it without this guy. If he wins the lottery and is out of here, I'll just say I'm in big trouble. I think very similar to if Stacy wins the lottery, this is where they earn their paycheck, and we cannot do this without either one of them.
All right. If he wins the lottery, I'm gonna probably have an inquiry done, so,
Me too.
At least a tax bill.
yeah, tax bill, yeah. And we'll make sure we get our cut of it, okay? Is there any other questions? All right. At this time, other questions? Do I need a motion for this? Or no?
Second.
All right. Motion made by Mr. Stone, second by Mr. Minky. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of the year 26 annual operating and capital budget for the Georgetown Municipal Water Sewer Service signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Let the record reflect that it passed. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Chase.
Appreciate it.
Item number 11, resolution on the municipal road aid program funds. I think we talked about that, and Devin's going to come up and tell us a little bit more about that.
Yep, no, this is just the resolution required to accept the funds. A copy of the agreement is included in the packet. You know, the annual allocation comes through this boilerplate resolution and agreement, and as long as you all don't have any questions, it's as straightforward as it seems.
So it just gives us the ability to accept the fundings from the state.
Motion.
Motion made by Ms. Sains. Do I have a
Second.
second made by Ms. Mitchell? Are there any questions and/or comments? All those in favor of the resolution to accept the municipal road aid program funds signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Thank you. Next, we have the Finance Department municipal order for the insurance renewal. And Mr. Patrick Johnston's going to come up and talk a little bit about that. Thank you.
Sure, Mayor, Council, thank you. We've got our renewals set for this year, and we're looking at some increase in premiums over last year, as we've all seen through our own homeowners and auto policies. We have an operating payroll that's increased by 1.1 million. We had 3 additional street miles added, 1 additional drone, and 38 additional employees. We've had 16 additional armed and trained officers, 16 additional autos, plus 6 more today for a total of 22 autos. And our autos are about twice the price of what they used to be 6 years ago, so your premiums obviously are about twice as much as well. The total property values have increased by about 11.2%, and most of that's due to the City Hall renovation project that's increased exponentially each quarter as they continue to progress with the construction. Total equipment values have gone up about 3%. So overall, our property and liability insurance premiums have increased by 25.6%, or $192,000. And our workers' comp for personnel coverage for any medical due to injuries has gone up by 38% to the tune of $140,000. And this is all through the Kentucky League of Cities. As a footnote, our broker says that the school systems experience anywhere from 20 to 50% increases as well. So comparable, we're about average to everybody else.
So I guess everybody's feeling this pinch. Is that what you're trying to say?
I think so, yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, Mayor.
All right. Anybody got any questions? If not, motion?
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Ms. Brent. Do I have a second? Second. Second made by Mr. Chris. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of the municipal order for the insurance renewal signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say nay. Thank you. Next, item 13, the fire department municipal order for fire department uniforms. So this is, I guess, for them to get some uniforms to wear around to put out fires and stuff. All right? I'll let,
This is news to me, Mayor, Council.
okay.
Chief Thompson's birthday is today, and he asked me to be here in place of him. So I'm only aware that we put out a bid package for a new uniform company, or for bids, to
Right.
accept bids. And I believe that was done. I think we received bids from 2 companies, Galls and the Public Safety Store. And I'm not aware of any decision that's been made as of today.
So what I know of here on municipal order is that this is something we need to look back into further?
Yeah. My apologies, I'm not aware.
All right,
Mayor,
well.
can we
we'll-
pass this for
Yeah,
2 weeks?
we'll just pass this along, and what we'll do, we'll bring this back, if, we'll go back and do a little bit more work on that, and then bring it back, and we can go from there, okay? Thank you, Chief. Next, item 14, Public Works, municipal order for reverse salt auction. All right,
This is just the salt auction we do every year by the League of Cities. They have a company that does it for us. I think the bids are 105 from Morton Salt.
okay.
It's about the 8th or 9th year we've done it, so I'm just here if you got any questions about it. Yes, sir.
Yeah, can you explain what a reverse auction is? I hadn't heard about one until this came up, and how does
Well-
that save us money, like in previous years and this year?
I don't know if I can explain what a reverse auction is. They handle that, to be honest with you. But when this started, League of Cities contacted several cities around, and they do a bulk auction. It's all, they let the bidders know, and, you know, they gotta meet certain criteria for that. And we've been doing it for, well, since I've been the director. So that's 9 years, so, it's just a bulk thing. I mean, I really can't explain it. I know what it does for us. We get the bid, they do all the work, and then we approve it, and then we get the allocation we're needed at the cost, and we can have extra. We don't have to buy it off. We don't use it all. I can explain that part, but.
That works.
Okay.
Better than making something
I
up,
mean,
so that's good.
you know, I'm not sure all how it works, so.
Okay.
But it is a cost reduction for us by going this method?
Yes, it has been.
Okay.
Now, salt prices have went up over the years. I mean, I think one of the first years was like $56 a ton, but it has been as high as 117. Last year it was 97 and went up $8 a ton this year.
Okay. All right. Okay, I need a motion for municipal order for reverse salt auction.
Motion, Mayor.
Motion made by Mr. Stone. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second made by Ms. Sames. Are there further questions and/or comments? All those in favor of the municipal order for the reverse salt auction signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, say nay. All right.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Item 15, old business, the backyard chicken. I sent you some information on that, and as you know, we're still in the process of working on that. You have got some feedback from some of the stakeholders that an agency we've talked to, and so now we're just gonna continue on with this, unless, you know that we're gonna eventually bring to you a ordinance, but unless you tell us anything different to do, you can expect it at that time. So, if there's no questions on that, yes.
Mayor, thank you for sending that information out. Was there any conversation with any of the veterinarians? I noticed it was reference in there, but whether or not there was
I
any
can tell you that,
conversation.
as I took my lovely daughter Gracie to the vet, I asked that question. I said, this is something that's coming up, and people are talking about chickens and so on, and possibly, making an ordinance to allow it in the city. And I said, so do you see a problem? And he says, Mary, I'm gonna tell you that there's not a lot of us that does that. And he said that it will be a concern that, because we just don't. So to answer your question, I asked that question, that's the answer I got, but we did not directly go with them on that. I just happened to be up there and ask that question because I was thinking about that. Yes.
On the enforcement side of things and the penalties, one of the things that we can add onto this list is that, and I know it would be good for code enforcement as well as animal control and the police department as well. If we can have a list sent out where they can have access to that list, be it the police department, code enforcement, whoever, of who is qualified and has an active permit, because, well, I lost my permit. Well, but I've got one. Well, we can pull up the list and check it and verify it for sure, so. Because we've run into things like that in the past, not being able to verify things that have been done, so.
So my question is, who do you say will get this list? If this list
It would
come-
be animal control, code
Okay.
enforcement, and then some way for the police department to have it as well, so. Be able to access it, I should say. And it may be something that, you know, it's put through dispatch, and dispatch has access to it, so, you know, one way or another, so.
So a
That's
list,
just like a procedural thing if this passes,
Yeah.
right? Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
So-
That's a good idea.
yeah.
so after they get their permit, a list will be tabulated, and then that active list of those people who have actually got a bona fide permit is then distributed to, code enforcement, police, animal control, and those people that are actually, so they'll know that, hey, they have to have that. Okay, all right, I got that star down my list. All right. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah, Mr. Mayor. In the memo on section number 9, it says there shall be no breeding or slaughtering of backyard chickens within the city of Georgetown. And then immediately under that, it says personal consumption of chickens is likely okay. It seems like the language of that's kind of, different. Can we
Emily, want to
clarify
answer
that?
that?
To be clear, so in the memo you got, the number is the section of the proposed framework that was submitted. That language following that is the feedback from the departments that he met with. So they were saying, you couldn't slaughter chickens and sell them like on a commercial level, but if you wanted to slaughter a chicken and consume it at home, like your family, that would probably be okay. So they were just pointing out that on that topic of slaughtering at home, that you could have a personal consumption piece that would be fine if the city wanted to allow that.
Oh,
If that makes sense.
If I may, the ones that I looked at from the other cities, they don't allow that. They don't allow it for personal consumption, it's for eggs.
Okay.
Not, because that could be traumatic for a next door neighbor or, whatever. It's just, and so, I would say if we pursue this, that we leave what the other cities have done, which is you can't slaughter them and eat them. You can't do it.
So you're
You
gonna
can't
make,
sell them or eat them yourself. You
so,
just-
so you're gonna clarify that this will be only for egg-laying chickens for consumption of getting for eggs only?
And in the initial information that we were working with, I saw some comments too about roosters from the other people that we talked to, and the other ordinances from the other cities do not allow roosters, and I would hope that the one that we see when we get ready to vote on this would not allow roosters. They're not necessary to produce eggs. And also, there was something in there, I'm sorry, I'm not looking at it right now, that said something about hatching chickens. And I'm not a scientist, but I don't believe if you have eggs that are not fertilized, you're not gonna have the problem of hatching chickens. So you still get eggs, but, so there's some information in there that, based on the way we started with this, if we stick to what we had, the comments are, they're not necessary. I mean, because we're not asking for roosters, we're not asking for slaughtering chickens to eat.
But I think, again, that's just from the conversation, when we
Right.
had conversation with them, this was brought up to us. So we want to make sure that you all heard what they were some of the comments we heard, and we want to make sure that you all got that, because one of the questions you may ask is, so when you talk to other people, what did they say about this? You know, what did some of your other agencies talked about? Did they see any problems with anything? So that's why we want to make sure we bring it to your attention to know that, okay? All right. Any other questions about backyard chickens? Item 2 is developmental impact fee, and of course, we had a stakeholders meeting the other day. We went well. We had a lot of conversation, so we're in the process of continue on with that. Again, we want to make sure we slow walk this to make sure that we want to do everything in the right way, making sure we touch all the bases with this, and that's what we work. And we're going to keep you apprised as we move forward on this. All right?
May I ask, I was there, but I don't remember where the information is, the PowerPoint. Is it on our website or?
Yeah, so that information will be distributed to the attendees of the session, but also we're working on establishing a dedicated page on our website. I'll get you a date when we know that's going to be released, but that page will provide those resources for anybody who's interested. Also working on determining the best path to receive written feedback. Obviously, not everybody was able to attend that stakeholder session. The intent is to have another one, but providing that opportunity for written comments, you know, they can obviously email their council members, but sometimes that gets, you know, forwarding those emails to the mayor can get cumbersome. So we're trying to work on a centralized place for those comments as well. So we'll let you all know when to expect that page to go live, but that will be part of the page, the slide deck.
Okay, and then also what came up during that was it was done over Zoom or some other, and I remember you saying that we had in their contract that they had a certain number of personal visits, and that we would have to approve if we were going to add more. And it seems like that should be something that we consider because it was real hard to.
Right, and I know some of the feedback, obviously that presentation's been given a number of times to the council or the public. I think a lot of the feedback was that they wanted more engagement, not sure how much they care about the, no offense, the consultant doing the presentation. So we can keep tabs on that, and if there's an interest in them coming and doing the presentation again, that's fine, we can look into that. Okay. But the feedback that the limited feedback following that I received was more about, thank you, we'll have a copy of this data and this presentation, and the stakeholder engagement doesn't need to necessarily include the consultant next time, but that's absolutely something, if the council's interested, we can do.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions about developer impact fee? If not, let's move to new business.
Mayor, I have a constituent that contacted me about its SB Senate Bill 63, and it's on being able in the city limits of Georgetown. It was passed in March, and actually I think Matt Nunn was one of the participants in the sponsor of the bill, but it's allowing the all-purpose vehicles to get licensed, and the city has to pass it to allow them to come into. Did you get it was that from Matt?
Oh, I've got a lot of it. So.
Oh, okay. Well, I just heard from one so far.
The clerk's office called me.
Oh, okay.
And started. That was her.
Oh, okay.
And was relaying information to me about this, and so I wasn't real clear about it. And so I asked them to contact Emily because she's city attorney and it would have to go to her. But basically what this amounts to is the state passed a law that says you cannot ride for ATVs, UTVs, or special purpose vehicles such as the mini trucks on city streets or on state roads. But the cities and county municipalities could opt in and allow these vehicles if they want to.
Right.
If we don't want to don't want them to drive on the city streets, correct me if I'm wrong, we do absolutely nothing.
Right.
We just leave it alone, and they're outlawed.
Right.
Or against the law to drive on the city streets of Georgetown. But Emily has more information, so I'm gonna let her finish.
Emily.
And actually, Mark Smith was the one that contacted me, and he owns Power Sports that used to be at Amen House. So I have asked him to come address the council if he would, to let us know on his side of the issue. So, yeah, I would love to hear what she's saying, what their understanding at this point in time, and then hear what his understanding is of it.
Okay. All right. So, Emily, you will come up, please? Thank you.
I would just add, if you haven't seen it, the county at their work session last week actually talked about this pretty extensively, and they did have a presentation from MLS and I think a representative from the clerk's office. I don't remember her name, but it was not you. But what Todd said is correct. There's kind of three options that the county talked about, which was do nothing, an ordinance allowing, or an ordinance allowing, but it like exempting certain roads, including city streets and private roads. Their plan is, I believe, at their July 3rd work session, is to have a draft ordinance, or at least something to talk about at that meeting, with additional conversation to come from that. My understanding based on that video was that they were waiting on some feedback and direction from the state to help kind of guide them on what this law actually is and how they should best respond. So if you would like to go back and watch that, that's on their YouTube. I thought it was pretty helpful just to see what the county is thinking, but they are thinking ahead of how this could impact the cities here as well. So that's all I have to add.
Okay. Yeah, Mayor, could we put it on the agenda maybe for, or it can go under old business and have a little more conversation and actually get the police department's input on what they feel pros and cons and how it's going to set up, and then I'll ask Mr. Smith to come and give his side of the, his will be pro, of course, and give his side of it as well. I mean, I can almost see the city being easier to handle those types of vehicles in the city on our public roads than in the county, but, yeah.
Yep, we can add that to keep that on, to talk about that as part of our agenda.
Okay.
And we'll add that on there.
All right.
All right. Any other new business? All righty. At this time, council comments. And Mr. Chris, I'll start with you in the corner there.
I have nothing this evening.
All righty.
I'm good, thank you.
All right. Mr. Mickey.
Sorry, I'll break the streak. So I had the opportunity last week to attend KLC Summer Summit. And that was very beneficial. Basically, the three topics over the 3 days were deep dives into code enforcement, ABC implementation, and economic development. As per the norm with a lot of these programs, you come back with a lot of nuggets of information, and there's some things from the economic development side that there are some opportunities, some grant opportunities out there that evidently we haven't, at least up to this point, taken advantage of, and so I'll try and raise those, and especially from a workforce or affordable housing perspective, there's some things that are out there that we could begin to look at with maybe public-private partnerships and some other things. So good use of time. So just wanted to share that with you all.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Brandt.
I just want to thank the Georgetown Scott County Friends of the Park for coming out to the Boston Park this weekend. They had a cleanup. They had, I think it was 27 volunteers that came out and cleaned up the park, the area. There was like 20 bags of trash that they received. And then it started off with a jam fest for the community over the weekend, and it went over really well. But just want to say thank you to the Georgetown Scott County Friends of the Park.
All right. Thank you. Next, Ms. Mitchell.
All good, thank you.
All right. Here's your chance right here.
Thank you, sir. Just a couple things we've got in the high schools right now. We've got some great scholar athletes. We've got some state champions in track and field. Scott County girls softball. I haven't seen anything, but they're deep in the state softball playoffs.
They play Friday. They play Henderson County, and they're in the Final Four.
Yeah.
So there you are. They are playing well.
So just wanted to make sure that in addition to the young ladies that were here earlier this evening, which was just phenomenal, but we recognize our other students and athletes in the community as well.
Well, it's good to know that we played more than just basketball here. isn't
That's
it?
right.
All right. Are there any other issues or any other thought? If not, this meeting is adjourned.